Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Aniket from EDS Technologies, and I will be your host for today's webinar. First of all, we thanks each and everyone for taking out the time and joining the webinar, Revolutionizing Patient-Specific Solutions with 3D Printing in Life Science. Now, I would like to introduce to Mr. Suhas Nikam. Uh, so, Su- So Mr. Suhas has overall 12 years of experience and a proven track record in helping manufacturers adopt emerging technologies. Currently, he is working with EDS Technologies as a brand manager for additive manufacturing. He holds an engineering degree in mechanical from Rajeshri Shahu College of Engineering, Pune. So now I request Mr. Suhas to give a short brief about EDS Technologies corporate profile.
Thank you, Aniket, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I am Suhas Shankar Nikam from EDS Technologies and looking for additive manufacturing sales as a brand manager. A warm welcome to our today's webinar on revolutionizing patient-specific solution with 3D printing in life sciences. So before beginning to webinar, I would like to give a small introduction about our company, EDS Technologies. EDS Technologies established in 1995 and headquarters is in Bangalore. With 30 years of experience, we are one of the India's largest technology solution provider in India. We are the platinum partner for Dassault Systems. We are the first to introduce many technologies like 3D printing, virtual reality, and digital manufacturing for the first time to the Indian customers. We serve more than 2000 plus customers across industries such as automotive, medical, aerospace, defense, and mining. We have 11 offices across India to support our customers with 200 plus associates. Today, we secure a privileged position in the market through strategic partnership with global technology leaders. We provide end-to-end technology solution to our customers. We are the strategic partnership with EOS. EOS is the leading technology provider worldwide for industrial 3D printing of metals and plastics. Again, we are the strategic partner for Optomec. Optomec is the leading technology provider worldwide for electronics and metal 3D printers. We also strategic partner with Dassault Systems. So we are the platinum partner with Dassault Systems for CAD, CAM, CAE, and PLM solutions. So in that we have CATIA for comprehensive design solution with focus on the latest trends in design, surfacing, and wire harnessing. Then we have simulation solution like Simulea, Abacus, and model dynamics. We have Delmia for digital manufacturing. We also have 3D Experience platform for integrated solution for product data management and product lifecycle management. So these are our Dassault products. Then we also strategic partnership with ISRI for GIS mapping, location intelligence, and spatial analytics solution. We also have the strategic partnership with the MAC for military simulation and training needs of aerospace and defense industry. We are the strategic partner for Technia for product data quality management solution. In that we have QChecker for product data quality. Then we have Kava software in that. Then we are the strategic partnership with the Synopsys for electronic design automation solutions. We also have the strategic partnership with Humanetics. It is a comprehensive solution for occupant ergonomics, and we have solution called Ramsys. So our today's technical expert and speaker, Mr. Arun Kashyap. So Arun holds MTech design in engineering and has over 9 years of experience in design and product prototype development. Arun is a subject matter expert in product development using rapid prototyping methods like laser powder bed fusion and other processes. He is currently working as a technical manager for additive manufacturing at EDS Technologies Private Limited. Now I over to Arun.
Thanks, Suhas. Good afternoon once again, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. So these are the agendas we'll be discussing today for the webinar. We'll be talking about what is additive manufacturing and the benefits of additive manufacturing in the medical field and overall benefits of additive manufacturing process-wise. Then we'll have a look at what is design for additive manufacturing concepts, which are used in the industry so far for healthcare. We'll be talking about the healthcare medical devices which are getting manufactured using the EOS technologies like SLS and DMLS. We'll have a discussion and we'll cover the patient-specific devices and implant manufacturing and orthotics and prosthetics also. And then we'll discuss the biocompatible materials, certifications for the healthcare, the materials which are certified for healthcare, like biocompatibility. So these are the topics for the webinar today. Let's dive into. So we'll begin with the additive manufacturing. What is additive manufacturing is basically a process to manufacture the digital data into the form of the physical model with the help of the programming. And there are several kinds of 3D printing processes available in the market today, out of which our focus today on the webinar will be on the laser-based systems, which are selective laser sintering and direct metal laser solidification. Those are plastic and polymer and metal manufacturing processes for the 3D printing, and they're very quick. So the stages involved in 3D printing is pre-processing, that is the data preparation, and which allows you to, in fact, customize the data and redesign the data, reverse engineer the data, which is very helpful for the healthcare industry. And once the data digital form is ready, which we call scan to print also sometimes, that digital data is sent to the 3D printer and it prints and later we have to do the post processing to get the final printed parts. So let's understand the workflow, the digital workflow in life science, taking an example of prosthetics. So the first stage in the digital workflow is measurement and scan of the patient. So those patients who have lost their body parts or are undergoing any treatment like orthotics. First stage is to scan the outer body, and for implant, it is the inner scanning of the organs. And the second stage is generate the data from the scan. So there are softwares available for this. This can generate the data for the printing. And after the data is generated, then we come to the modeling of the prosthesis or orthosis based on the requirement. And once the data is designed, the digital data is sent to the printer or the machine. In this case, we have taken example of EOS P3 Next state-of-the-art machine, which is actually a SLS process. The printer takes care of the printing of the digital data, and then we take out the model, send it for the post-processing. And once the post-processing is done, the model is ready for fitment trial and adjustment and actual fitment for the patient. So you might have understood during the entire process that most of the time there is no physical contact involved aggressively in the process of attaining, whether it is attaining the data which is scan to print in first three stages or even during manufacturing. Only at the end of the process the real fitment happens, and that is what makes the digital workflow very essential process, which imparts the convenience for the patient to undergo these kinds of uh, implants and prosthetic operations and installations. Okay, so I explained about what is the workflow. Now let's understand how the SLS 3D printing works. So here we have taken one example of our EOS P series machine. So in SLS process, we use CO2 laser, which is actually predominantly responsible to fuse the high performance thermoplastic like nylon material, and this is very durable also. In the machine, we have arrangements of heater, the lasers, which travels through the galvo scanners, and those galvo scanners basically make the laser travel to the desired location so that it fuses the powder wherever only it is required during the layer-wise processes. And it happens in the layer thicknesses of 50 micron to all the way to 200 micron, depending on properties or productivity based need. So this layer-wise process, once this layer-wise process completes, we take out something called exchangeable frame in this case, which is a printing bucket. By the way, for the P396, the bucket is typically sizing about 340, 600 which is quite decent to print prosthetic and even sockets for prosthetic for an adult or children or any age group. Once this printing is over, we take out the part, we send it for the depowdering, and then we do some sort of post processing. Those are very nominal post processing, and the part is ready to be used. Now, here is the catch, very interesting catch. What happens with the powder once the printing is over? So we take out the left out powder from the build, and then we can reuse that powder, which imparts the sustainability. So whatever leftover powder is there, we sieve it, and then we mix it with the new powder to refresh it, and then it is again undergoing the same process, which is SLS, which imparts the recycling and reusability. And we have seen, in fact, for some of the material we are able to use and claim 80% of the material, in fact, from the previous build, which is very economic in the sense of manufacturing the polymer components. So this was brief about the additive manufacturing, emphasizing with the polymer materials. Now let's jump into the benefit of additive manufacturing in the AM. So here also we have taken a few example cases. The first case is to manufacture the surgical guide, which is again the challenge was the individualization pertaining to the shapes and the size of the fixture. The benefit was it was the outcome was very precise for the brain surgery, and it reduced the time also. The second use case we have taken is the benefit is the SLS or DMLS process are able to cater the very integrated or very complex geometries like lattice structures, which is very useful in implant and especially at the end application for ingrowth of tissues and bones for better adaptability of the implants that we will discuss later. And the benefit is improved osseointegration in this case. And the next example is on the functional integration and reduced cost on manufacturing the equipment for the healthcare, which is actually a dialyzer for the blood or making blood samples, kind of a machine which is very complex in terms of assemblies. There were multiple parts, which as an outcome we reduce the complex assembly. So additive manufacturing is able to address very complicated designs and structures and is able to save the cost in overall, whether it is for the development or assembly or logistic, anything. The most demanding and the best advantage of additive manufacturing is rapid availability, which is solving a lot of problems when on-demand manufacturing of component at a local level or decentralized level, or in fact for urgent surgeries like implants and guides. This is able to cater. So these are all benefits which additive manufacturing has in the medical field and is addressing nowadays in the daily life. Now let's have a look at the benefits of SLS process that we discussed earlier. So the SLS offers the user a high level of customization. So for example, for any age group, it doesn't matter. The scanning of data is very easy. And then once that data is attained, the SLS will take care of manufacturing of any complicated geometries and complexes. Secondly, it is tool-free process. It doesn't require any tools. It doesn't require any support structures that are typically used in the convention in the other 3D printing processes. In SLS, you don't need a support structure, by the way. Powder reusability, as we discussed earlier, we are able to claim the powder from the previous build, which is imparting economic benefit also in the process. And minimum post-processing means the process is so reliable and very quick and is with very quick outcome that you just need to take out the part and do depowdering and do post-processing and very nominal to post-processing and go ahead with using the component. No chemical exposure. The chemical exposure is very less in this process. You can do nesting on the fly, means you are able to utilize the complete 3D volume of the printer instead of only having one layer of printing in certain processes, certain additive manufacturing process. SLS allows you to pack as many parts as possible. Suppose here, for example, we have taken the illustration image for the sockets getting manufactured. So you can stack as many sockets as are needed, and it is very low cost per part production. So because of the fact that you are able to reuse the powder, and we are able to minimize the uses of raw material. We and the SLS process is very fast. It uses the laser. The cost per component is very low. Uh, we are available with variety of materials, starting from carbon fiber reinforced material to glass filled material to high temperature application materials and flame retardant materials. So there are several materials that are available in the SLS. It doesn't require any curing because the curing happens during the process only. The nylon material gets melted by the laser during layer wise process. It doesn't have the UV damage predominantly, or even for certain life, it doesn't. You don't see the traces of the damage on the material. So that's the best part about this nylon material. It is suitable for functional testing, so you can think of multi-utility of the components. Once, for example, socket is printed, so you can have mountings and unmountings multiple times during fitment and trial. So this is the material durable and very promising in terms of taking trials. And this is the fact why, because we are able to print the threads, we are able to insert the threads, and in fact insert the studs in the thermoplastic material. It comes with a high resolution printing also. So we have one printer in our portfolio which is fine detail resolution. It is able to print even 200 micron of resolutions in the part. It doesn't limit here. So suppose your component is typically bigger than the machine build volume. You can deconstruct the component, you can make it in pieces and join it later, which adds on more utility of the printing environment for the bigger part. And it has a water tightness, means if your car is watertight, your model are ultimately watertight and will give you very good mechanical strength ultimately in the end use. So this is about the benefit of SLS process. Let's jump into the design for additive manufacturing in healthcare. So we have seen the implications of DFAM for healthcare, in whether it is manufacturing the bio-friendly multi-structures, commonly known as lattice structures, which are pyramidal lattice structures, or hexagonal lattice structures, or there are so many lattice structures actually, and they are used in hip cups for the ingrowth of tissues. Then we'll look at the concepts called assembly simplification, which is part count reduction, like in the typical case of manufacturing of that device, which is having multiple components altogether. The weight optimization. So why this concept of weight optimization is, I'll give you a glimpse, is that, for example, you are manufacturing a certain implant to replace the bone or the damage of the bone, and until unless you don't calibrate the implant's mass with respect to the bone mass, the patient will always have the difficulty in handling that implant, and adaptability will be very difficult. So by introducing the lattice structures and calibrating the weight, this is where DFAM is getting applied for increasing the adaptability of that particular implant. And yes, of course, the build optimization. So now we are with the years we are coming up with a lot of parameters optimized for printing titanium and cobalt chrome and SS17-4PH. Uh, all of these medical grade alloys, we have developed a parameter which are able to cater the high productivity, which are resulting as high productivity, and almost we are doing supportless printing. I will show you the examples of how we are doing supportless printing in some of the applications, which actually reduces the cost and the other complications for the metal 3D printing processes. So these are the typical implants in the areas: shoulder system, tibial cones, femoral cones, and screw implants. And with it is a monoblock uh, 3D printed cup with a ceramic liner, where DFAM has played a great role with the multi-scale structures. So let's have a look at with one OCO titanium porous metal technology. This was actually invented by Zimmer Biomet, who have introduced the 3D printed grade 23 titanium alloy. They have actually done the trial with in the animal study, and the implant has been adapted by the body. Within 4 weeks, they saw a significant improvement. They were able to introduce the porosity. So that's one more area where research and development for the healthcare is getting helped by additive manufacturing, where you can introduce your engineered porosity and in the implant, you can actually mimic the bioshapes or the architecture of the conventional bones and structures. The material strength is taken care by the process itself, and integration is very, very excellent when you print something like this. Okay, so let's have a look at what testings they have done. So they have done testings on the friction coefficient with the 3D printed metal implant. They saw very good, great results when they printed and did trial on the pyramid and honeycomb lattice structures. They saw very significant growth from 4 weeks to 12 weeks. You can see in the images how tissues are getting adapted around the micro lattice structures that are printed. So this is one of the great achievement where 3D printed implants and engineered implant, I would say, are shown as very reliable solutions in the healthcare and solving a lot of problems there. Let's have a look in the next case study for the DFAM, which is assembly integration. So you can see this device is actually a washing centrifuge for blood group serology manufactured with the EOS technology, which is SLS. The component name is Rotomat, and component predominantly had a lot of assembly complications. So the first motive to introduce the 3D printing technology here is to reduce the part count, to reduce the number of assemblies. So uh, with the US technology, we were able to reduce it from 32 number of components to just three number of components, which actually added the benefit of reducing the number of tools getting used for in the production process, and it is widely adapted and implemented. It is very quick to introduce the product. So challenges like manufacturing various tools for manufacturing those separate plastic component was completely eliminated, and we got a quick outcome through SLS process, and we were able to reduce the number of components and simplify the assembly basically to reduce the cost and the lead time. So this is one of the great implication of the design for additive manufacturing in the healthcare for devices. The next example is on patient-specific calcaneus bone implant used in titanium. So the patient was almost had almost lost the bone at the heel, and he underwent the other side legs scanning through CT scanning, and then the data was generated through CT scanning. And this is where the differences plays into picture. I mentioned about the weight calibration. Is suppose if the patient is carrying the 4.41 gram per cc dense material with compared to the almost half of that what is there in bone. Bone is very porous and it doesn't have that density. So there was a literal need to reduce the mass of this implant. So that was carried out and achieved by introducing the lattice structures in it, and powder was completely taken out or out of that structure, and it didn't distort also, and the outcome was very great, and it was operated in the patient's body. The steps involved for manufacturing were typically first attaining the digital data, and then printing the data with the DMLS process, doing stress relieving, and then support removal, and then grinding, buffing, and then ultrasonic cleaning and sterilization processes, like before whatever processes are involved for cleaning before operations, and it got operated successfully. So this is the area where 3D printing is helping on demand, and with the customized patient specific implant manufacturing. The other area where build optimization has played a key role is with reduction of the support structure. So you can see in these videos, we have taken an example of printed hip implants design, which are very, very convenient through our EOS technology, DMLS technology, which is able to print the components almost without supports, very, very negligible support. At the end of the process, you can even plug by your hand. Uh, so this is one of the great achievement through EOS parameters, laser parameters to optimize the build in the medical scenario. Okay, so here we go with the DFAM. Now let's have a look at the medical devices. So we have taken one example of nasal swabs that are 3D printed, that were 3D printed. So as you all are aware about the COVID-19 situation, where the supply chain was very, very uh, got affected, and people were not able to fulfill the supply. So there was a literal need of manufacturing, these kinds of disposable medical devices, and disrupt the supply chain at a decentralized local level because of stopped transportation, and complications were there. So there was a literal need of having alternate solutions, and 3D. This is where 3D printed has solved the problem of getting nasal swabs manufactured. These swabs are completely reliable, and they underwent the clinical trial also, like conventional manufactured nasal swabs, and they were certified by a Spanish health authority. So in Germany and North America, people find out the decentralized concept of manufacturing swabs, and it turned out very well. They were able to manufacture 40,000 swabs per day to fulfill that demand in the condition of outbreak. The next case study I have taken is from the robotic surgery module. This is actually an aluminum cast which is mounted on a robotic surgery module. This is done using a EOS M290 machine. Um, so typically the process involved the orientation, support generation, which is the data preparation uh, used for metal 3D printing, and then the data is sent to the printer. And the printing, it involved the printing and powder removal, stress relieving, wire cut, support removal. After all those processes, this is what it was attained from the 3D printing, and it got successfully installed also on the robotic surgery module. So this is one of the great uh, value add, which is doing metal additive manufacturing in the medical field to fulfill the on-demand supply of the components, not getting into the long lead time cycles of conventional processes. So this is how quickly you can make use of 3D printing in the medical equipments. So this is about medical devices, and then we have patient specific. So let's have a look at patient specific medical devices and implant manufacturing. So we'll be talking about several applications here. So what is patient specific is basically it is customized at an individual level. Uh, it is not standardized. So basically, there are implants, like we have seen examples even from foot to head or toe to head. We say sometimes, so we can see the facial implants or cranial implants or hip implants, knee implants, spinal implants, and there are several surgical guides and fixtures also, which are very helpful in surgeries and operations. So we'll look at it in a case study of neurosurgery, the fixture used for neurosurgery, and surgical guide for spine, and then surgical guide for knee arthroplasty. So let's have a look at the first. Before diving into the case studies, I would like to show you the digital workflow. Earlier, we saw the digital workflow of external variables like orthotics or prosthetics, but here we are talking about the implants where, again, the another contactless process to attain the digital model is used. So this typically involves the CT scanning of the bone or of the organ through the X-rays, and then it involves the image processing, and that those images are modeled using the CAD modeling software. They're analyzed for the strength perspective, and then the data processed is finally sent to the 3D printing workflow, which is typically CAD data and then data preparation, and the printer prints that, and that implant is usable, that is ready for using. So let's have a look at so this kind of process is typically used for metal 3D printing. Most of the implants are manufactured using the metal materials like titanium, cobalt, chrome, or any SS material if used for. So let's have a look at the metal 3D printing process, which we call direct metal laser solidification, introduced by US. So this involves the fiber laser, unlike SLS, which is CO2 laser, and this process can fuse almost any alloy, aluminum, steels, stainless steels, inconel, titanium, bio-friendly or biocompatible titanium grades. This sometimes is known as selective laser melting and direct metal laser melting also. The complete printing process happens in the inert atmosphere. So you can see the layout how the recorder records the powder over the building platform, and then the laser traveling through the scanning system selects the area, picks the area wherever the implant exists, and it fuses that particular area only, which makes it convenient to retain the surrounding powder. And again, in metal also we can reuse the powder like an SLS process, and we can claim the complete powder in surrounding and make use of it. The layer thicknesses here are 30 microns to 60 microns, so about 30 micron of resolution can be expected even sometime in the DMLS process. Once this printing is over, we take out that metal component, we send it to, or specifically for healthcare implant, we send it to the stress relieving, that is the furnace, and then we remove the support structures, clean it, do other cleaning processes before the implant is taken into the operations. So based on the requirement, and the post processings can be selected basically, maybe media blasting, tumbling, grinding, machining, polishing, and then finally the other cleaning processes like ultrasonic cleaning and other things. So let's have a look at very interesting workflow uh, for metal additive manufacturing, specifically for the Conceloc cementless total knee replacement systems made through additive manufacturing, EOS DMLS process by Smith and Nephew. So in this video, we'll have illustration how 3D printing actually workflow happens. So it begins with the digital model, as I said. So you have your digital model, and then you send that digital model into the printer, and printer takes care of printing. So let's have a look at how this is getting manufactured. So it manufactured in layer-wise process. You can see in the video how these implants are manufactured, and then we depowder it. We send it to the furnace, and then it passes through several cleaning processes. Then it is put for stress relieving again, or any other heat treatment cycle that imparts the mechanical strength on the implant as per the requirement, and then desired area can be machined, and then it can be inspected. Uh, so this is the typical workflow, how the metal manufacturing works, and then it gets to the final inspection and dispatch. So we have next case study on the in-mouth applications for making this tooth kit, which is actually a cast for a particular patient. And the SLS process has been addressing this very well. Our P3 next machine is giving a great outcome. So we can see packing density is a very interesting and very important factor here with the SLS process. Packing density is what, like, you have a certain size in X, Y, and Z. You have a volume, and you can accommodate as many parts as possible. So whatever space and whatever density is attained over the available space, we call this the packing density. So out of 100%, we are able to attain the packing density up to 11.2%, which is a great number in terms of getting the lowest cost per part component. And with this number, you can expect the in-house machine. If someone have in-house machine, in order to print 1 gram of polymer, it's just costing about a few bucks. Uh, for example, 18 rupees, 20 rupees kind of, when you have such a utility of the machine and the special and the SLS process. The lead time is reduced. So yeah, our systems are like typically if you're going full height build, it's 1 day job. So today you start, tomorrow you get your component. It's very rapid and very productive machines. They have very less carbon emission. And for this particular example, the CO2 emission by adapting the SLS process is 4% reduced actually. So yeah, this is one example for InMode. Then we can see example of dental crown and braces, especially the facial implants, where there are a lot of challenges for one person to other person. The geometries changes, the anatomies changes. So 3D printing can address actually due to its high complexity capability. It can address to any kind of design or any kind of implants manufacturing. So I'll not get into much details about the slides that are there, but yeah, this is the outcome that you can expect from a typical 3D printing. I'll show you some of the images how this customized facial implant got operated in the patient, and the surgery was successful. So this is how the 3D printing solves in demand and for a customized solution. One more example on the cranial implant we have taken here. So as you can see in this example, this is not completely solid, and this is porous actually. And this porosity is not part of process. This is part of design. So this is an introduced porosity for certain demand in certain applications. So the porosity in this example is 95%, and it helps for the liquid to be transferred in the real case scenario, and can have more adaptability in the patient. So the challenge in this case was to develop a very precision fit implant for cranial patch, or it can be on any side, and it can be for a accidental patient, or for any other surgeries. It can be used. This implant was manufactured in our EOS metal system M280, and the result was optimized permeable liquid protect against heat. So yeah, so this actually solves multiple purposes by introducing the porous structures or porous designs in the implant. It's very stable when it is installed or operated in a patient, and it is very innovative because it is able to print any amount of details. Like these structures are typically with 0.4, 0.5 mm wall thickness also that 3D printing is able to print. So yeah, fantastic result for the cranial implant in this case. Next example we have taken here is for the neurosurgery, which is a fixture for operating, and the solution is kind of a on demand fixture for a very precise surgery where you get where surgeon don't want to risk doesn't want to risk any cuts or precisions during operation, and it helps a lot in operating. So the outcome to print this was comfort and care. It was customized for a particular application for a particular patient, and it gave a very precise outcome with the highest quality with the SLS process, and it improved the functionality, and it is very economical also because you don't have to go into tooling and all of the stuff. You just have a CAD data, you scan through the patient, you design what you want, and the printer will take care of it. The next application in demand is hip cup serial production. So yeah, it results with, as I said, high porosity lattice structures to promote bone in growth, create random irregular trabecular lattice with high precision on single piece without interference layer between cups and lattice. So these are the advantages basically as an outcome, and reduction of the lead time, of course. You get your components in just matter of a few hours, and it can be used in batch production for different sizes, and combined with combination of CNC and 3D printing, you can look at the real functional implants which can be operated. I'll take one more example from Smith and Nephew, who have manufactured these kinds of particular, which they name it Redapt cups, which are integrated with the lattice structures, and they are functional, they are useful in this case. Yeah, next case study is to save the time and improve the outcome of the spinal fusion surgery, which was so these are the parts used for spinal surgery, uh, which were manufactured using the SLS process. The outcome was with improved efficacy of entire workflow, and operating time was reduced, which is very crucial because there is a radiation exposure which was reduced by 38.5% in this case, and the patient mobilized with the day one post operation because there were no complications on the equipment side or on the fixture side, and this is very useful for the hospitals, for surgeons, where you can choose your design, you can mimic the design in fact, and you can operate as you want basically. I'm taking few more surgical guide examples here, the surgical instruments to achieve the precise cut, which can be manufactured through our EOS P110, P3 systems. There are 4 5 series we have in SLS process. The challenges to establish a surgical guide system for total knee replacement operations, create a more precise and controlled way of cut. So these are the guides for operations, and they are very helpful because of their precision and on-demand supply of the component, and are able to handle any shapes, starting from microstructures to bionic shapes or mimic of any other structures, of course. Yeah, here is one example of unique compartmental knee system by BodyCAD, which is the efficacy is within an hour, which is very efficient, and cost efficacy is 1.5 times to 2 times more affordable and less costly, and they're very fast. The delivery can be considered almost on-demand delivery, and they're very precise. So these are all areas and these are all systems, the surgical guide systems, which can be manufactured using SLS process. The cutting guides, we have taken one more example from Smith and Nephew, which are the cutting guides. They are accepted uh, 1 in 4, but with the additive, it is even reduced, and they're fast to fulfill the demand within 3 weeks or within few weeks. It can turn around, and it is simplified in few steps and very, very cost efficient. Okay, so this is about patient-specific devices and implant. Now let's jump into the topic of orthotics and prosthetic. So in orthotic and prosthetic, I may not have to introduce those who know what is this process exactly. So the SLS process is able to cater, SLS technology is able to cater almost all the areas of ONP, where be it a prosthetic foot or be it a hand orthosis or it is an ankle foot orthosis or spinal orthosis or any other areas it can cater, you name it, because once the digital data is with the machine holder or anybody who has machine, it's not that difficult to print these kinds of devices. I'm pulling out the processes, the conventional approach versus the digital approach. So conventionally, these prostheses are manufactured, like first patient has to undergo the measurement, and which is a contact measurement basically, where a lot of molding material is first measured and mounted on the patient's organ, and then they take the positive model, negative model, cavity, and then do the positive modeling, and then according to the shape, they manufacture um, the leg or the prosthesis through this process, which is very tedious, lengthy, and uncomfortable for most of the patients. Uh, don't actually like this process. Because of this contact of the foreign material and other things. While the digital process is very clean and very simplified, where the patient just has to undergo the scanning process, and then that scan model is processed, and then that processed model is manufactured using SLS process, and it's ready for fitment. So yeah, it is very easy, convenient, and should be adaptable widely, uh, which is a non-contact approach of manufacturing the ONP. So I'm pulling up one case study here. The challenges are to develop customized prosthetic feet that enable natural walking behavior. Uh, the facts and challenges globally, very few people are able to get the prosthesis in short lead time due to high lead time due to complexities that I described. So the solution for that is to adapt the digital manufacturing process, which is through EOS, SLS uh, systems, where it allows the individualized design, integration, robust material, the highest amount of innovations to ensure whether it is durability, quality, and uh, have a wearable device which actually work uh, at the end of the process within, of course, the shortest lead time. Okay, so we'll move to one more case study here for prosthesis, where the patient is able to uh, you know see the entire process, is fortunate to see the process of digital manufacturing and understand and feels relaxed after seeing the technology and the ease of adaptability of the implant. So yeah, this video is muted. I'll just skip it for you. So this is our EOS machine, you can see in the video. And this is the outcome from the powder. And this is where, after printing, the part is taken, you can depowder and simply clean it and use it basically. This is the printing, which happens layer wise. I already showed you this workflow of how SLS process works. And once the printing of the component is over, that component can be painted or dyed for and can undergo any post-processing at the end of the process to make it more appealing, more qualitative, and make it more variable. So this is the process you can see in the video. The patient is undergoing the scanning, and then that scan is taken up for modeling of the prosthesis, and then that model result as a final shape after the SLS process. This is polyamide 12 material, which is biocompatible, durable. And finally, when the part is printed, post-process, it is easy and ready to be fitted for the trials. Yeah, that's it. So this is about ONP. Now let's talk about what material we have got in the processes. So we have got biocompatible polymer materials, polyamide 11, which are useful for ONP fixtures, guides, and equipments. We have got polyamide 12, which are again biocompatible and very versatile for ONP applications and all those fixtures and guides. TPU material is one of the material which comes from elastomer family, and you can make use of it like rubber material and for cushioning and engineered structure for cushioning. Then we have polyamide 12 carbon reduced material and polyamide 11 climate neutral material, which are almost resulting with the least amount of like our polyamide 11 climate neutral is almost 100% carbon emission free material with the EOS. In metal, we have titanium grade 23, which is widely used for the healthcare industry, implants, medical and devices. And then we have Ti 64 ELI, which is biocompatible. All of these materials are biocompatible with a grade 3 or ELI. Then we have commercially pure titanium also. We have cobalt chrome with a high impact resistance and fatigue life used for the implant manufacturing. We have precipitant hardened stainless steel for surgical equipment, surgical tools, and orthopedic instruments. And then we have regular SS316L alloy also. These are all medical grade alloys that we use, but apart from this, the EOS systems are able to print any other alloy also. There are so many alloys that are getting printed. And in fact, the machines are open for printing a new chemistry basically. Right. So this is about the material that we have, and all of these material have covered the certification. So there are testings that have been done. There are mechanical testings done on our material, chemical testings, burning testings, temperature testings, other chemical testings, leak-proof testings, and FR testings, for fire retardant materials, biocompatible testings, toxicity assessment for the cell growth, FDA assessments. All these testings are already done in our material, so it is very easy to make use of these materials in the healthcare industry for several.
Oh, hello. Okay, thank you, Arun. So we are at the end of our sessions. So we don't have more questions. So I would like to thanks Mr. Arun and Mr. Suhas for delivering a very insightful webinar today. I'm very confident It was very helpful for our audience today. I would like to thank our audience for taking the time out and joining the session. If you have any further queries related to the subject matters or any other requirement, you can always connect with us. Our details are displayed on the screen right now. You can reach out to us at any time and we would be happy to address your queries. Please do keep an eye on our upcoming webinars and seminars. You can follow us on our social media platform for the same. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.